What if I told you mastering the phrase be used to could open up new worlds of communication? Imagine speaking English with confidence, effortlessly incorporating this phrase into your daily conversations. This engaging lesson is designed to be fun and deeply explained, perfect for everyone, from curious children to non-native speakers. You'll explore clear explanations and plenty of relatable examples that illustrate how to use be used to naturally. Interactive exercises will make learning this pattern not just easy, but enjoyable. So, whether you're a homeschooling parent, an English teacher, or a global professional, this lesson has something special for you. Ready to enhance your language skills?
Welcome everyone to this lively session on mastering be used to. The pattern that lets you express being comfortable with something and showing familiarity in English.
Absolutely. It's like when you say, I am used to spicy food, meaning
Indeed.
that spicy food is no longer a challenge.
Exactly. It's a neat structure where the subject and the correct form of be come together with used to, followed by either a noun or a verbing form, and it quickly tells someone that something has become normal.
Right, and it's so important because it differs from just saying used to without be, which implies something from the past, like old habits that no longer exist.
Yeah, so we're looking at examples like, I am used to waking up early, to indicate that early mornings are now part of one's routine, rather than referencing a past habit.
And it gets even more interesting when you extend it to settings outside daily routines.
Indeed.
They are used to the cold weather, showing that what once felt strange is now completely comfortable.
Exactly. It covers that transformation where at first something may seem challenging and over time it turns into a norm, illustrating change over time in a practical way.
It's like learning to ride a bike. At first it's scary, but then you're just cruising along, completely accustomed to the movement.
That's a great analogy. It's like how our brains adapt. Once unfamiliar tasks eventually become second nature, just like mastering any new skill.
Now, let's also talk about the structure a bit more. We start with the subject, follow it with be in the correct form, then used to, and finally the noun or verbing phrase.
Yeah, exactly.
And this little twist makes a huge grammatical difference.
Right, so consider the sentence, she is used to big cities. It shows that living amid the busy sounds of a city is no shock to her, unlike someone who might feel overwhelmed.
Exactly. And sometimes learners make common mistakes like saying, I am used to wake up early, instead of the correct, I am used to waking up early.
True.
Which can really change the meaning.
Right on. And that little variational detail between using a base form of a verb versus its ing form is crucial for clarity. It's super important to internalize.
Speaking of practice, there was an interactive challenge where students had to correct a sentence like, she is used to drive to work. And the answer was, of course, she is used to driving to work.
Exactly. And that little exercise really drives home the point. It's about form, and getting it right through practice.
Absolutely. Right. And that interactive story about Liam moving to Canada really solidified the concept. It showcased how, initially, Liam wasn't used to the cold weather, but eventually adapted, illustrating the natural progression of getting comfortable over time.
Yes, the story was super engaging. It painted that picture so clearly. At first, he bundled up every which way, then slowly he got used to it and even began to enjoy the snow, reflecting real-life adaptation.
That's a perfect real-life example. But I have to respectfully challenge one point. Don't you think that sometimes the nuance between be used to and used to is still a bit murky for learners?
Absolutely, I see what you're saying. True, it can be tricky. It's like, the context usually makes it clear. If you're describing a habit from the past, you use used to, but if you're talking about being accustomed to something now, you use be used to. And examples help solidify that difference.
Well said. And another challenge for learners is forming their own sentences like, I am used to, or she is used to.
Exactly.
Which really pushes them to think in the target language.
Right, those fill-in-the-blanks activities not only test understanding, but also encourage creativity in everyday conversation.
And then there's the conversation practice bit, where someone new to a city says, I just moved to New York. The subway is so confusing. Followed by a reassuring response. Don't worry, you'll get used to it soon. So practical.
Yes, and it encapsulates how these patterns are used in daily dialogues, from describing a new experience to reflecting on a past unfamiliarity, turning into routine, making grammar come alive in context.
And think about it. It's almost like a little journey for each learner. Often initially uncomfortable, but as they practice, I am used to it becomes a natural affirmation, echoing a kind of personal growth.
Precisely. It's a journey from uncertainty to ease, and we've seen that in the examples and interactive exercises, all tailored to help solidify this grammar pattern in a fun and engaging way, making the learning process interactive and enjoyable.
Absolutely. And on that note, it's interesting to see how practice reinforces the pattern. The more you speak in situations like these, the more natural the pattern becomes.
Yeah,
kind
totally.
of like learning to drive. Practice makes perfect.
Exactly. It's like having a personal trainer for your language. But remember, it's all about consistent practice, from correcting common errors to generating your own dialogues, which is the key to mastery.
Right. And if you ever find yourself stuck, just review those examples. I am used to cooking for my family, or he is used to working at night.
Yeah, absolutely.
Take them as templates for your own use.
And it's neat how the lesson encourages sharing answers with friends or in comments, because language learning grows best in a community.
Exactly. And if you're comfortable with the concept, try crafting your own interactive story or even a short dialogue reflecting a change from unfamiliarity to comfort, really putting theory into practice.
Yeah, that's a brilliant idea. Indeed, it's all about that transformation. And let's not forget the final review exercise. At first, English was difficult for me, but now I it, which simply fills in as I am used to it. Nice and elegant.
Well put, it really drives home the concept that what once was challenging can become second nature with practice.
Exactly.
Reinforcing that language, learning takes time and exposure.
So, to wrap our engaging dive into be used to, it's all about familiarization, proper structure, and lots of interactive practice, unlocking the power of everyday English conversation.
Exactly. It's a perfect example of how detailed explanation mixed with real-life examples can make grammar less intimidating.
Absolutely.
And a lot more enjoyable when you practice it.
And remember, as you experiment with this pattern, whether it's in written exercises or spoken dialogue, think of it as a personal journey towards becoming more fluent and confident in your English, continually pushing you forward.
Yeah, right. Indeed. And by embracing both the technical structure and the fun interactive exercises, you're bound to find that what seemed difficult at first soon becomes second nature. The transformation we all aim for.
Exactly. So keep practicing, keep engaging with the examples, and most importantly, have fun with it. Because each mistake is just a stepping stone to mastery.
Well said. Every step, no matter how small, builds your confidence. And it's inspiring to see how learning these subtle differences can really empower you in conversation, making everyday interaction smoother.
Absolutely. It's the little details that really transform your language skills. And with consistent effort, you'll be saying, I'm used to it, in a heartbeat.
Thanks for joining in this deep dive into the be used to structure. Keep practicing, experiment with your own sentences, and soon enough, this pattern will feel just like second nature. Until next time, happy learning.